Today we are in Sigiriya, in the heart of Sri Lanka's cultural triangle. Sigiriya is home to one of Sri Lanka's most iconic landmarks, Lion Rock. It's also home to the lesser-known Pidurangala VIHARA, which offers stunning panoramic views over the entire valley of Sigiriya and Lion Rock itself. Today we're going to be exploring Lion's Rock, a site that has baffled and mystified since its rediscoverance in 1831.
Then we're heading to Pidurangala Rock, which is the second biggest rocky outcrop in the valley. So Lion Rock is number 1, Pidurangala is number 2.
When people visit Sigiriya, they either do Pidurangala Rock or Lion's Rock. So in today's video, we're going to be climbing both Lion Rock and Pidurangala VIHARA to break down the pros and cons of visiting each and to help you decide which one you should visit. We arrived here super early this morning because we have heard that sometimes to go up the rock there can be a wait of 2 to 3 hours. So we got here at 7 AM right when it opens to hopefully kind of beat the crowds, although we're not really feeling too hopeful, so fingers crossed for us guys. Wish us luck. We have our tickets. Now it does cost $30 US per person for foreigners, which is a little bit expensive given that for local people it only costs 100 rupees. It is kind of an expensive activity, but it is one of the main attractions here in Sigiriya and one of the most iconic things to do in Sri Lanka, so we thought kind of have to do it.
It really is quite tall. Yesterday when we arrived we could see it. And I was like, oh, it's not that big, but now that I'm here and it's looming over me, it really is quite large. Something to be aware of when you do come here to Lion Rock is that it doesn't matter what time of day that you come, it is going to be busy. But I guess the one thing to keep in mind is that if you do come early in the morning, the traffic is moving and it is a lot cooler. I can't imagine being stuck here in the afternoon when it's 33 degrees, it's 100% humidity, and the queues are all the way back down the valley.
And now guys, the serious climb begins. You wouldn't want to be scared of heights, kind of like I am. Just look at the rock side. I think we've made it to the top.
I don't think we have.
Oh.
That's the top.
At the base of the final climb up to Lion's Rock, you will notice these two massive lion's claws. Now archaeologists actually believe that when it was originally built, it was a full lion. So there would have been a lion's head and the lion's body as well, not just the 2 feet. And just by looking at the size of the feet, you can just imagine how massive this lion would have been. It's really impressive. Unfortunately, due to erosion and wear and tear, the lion's body isn't intact, but there is still the feet, which is pretty impressive nonetheless. Alrighty guys, there's only one way to the top and that is up, so come on. Let's make our final ascent upward. We've hit our first traffic jam of the day. So if you look over here in the wall, you'll see there are actually steps that have been carved into the wall. And it's crazy to think, like, is that how people used to get up to the top here? Because if so, that's nuts. It's amazing to think that down there is where we came from. What a hike, guys. Whew. But to be honest, it was a little bit of a hike and it was a little bit hard, but the views up here are so worth it. It is absolutely amazing. We have views over the entire valley from up here and it is beautiful. And now there's a bit of a breeze up here. It's just great. It's crazy to think that a structure this sophisticated was built hundreds of years ago, this high up, like 200 meters in the sky with no cranes.
It is like incredibly complex. You know, I thought it would be just some ruins on the top of the mountain, but it's actually a really complex structure, you know, for being built so long ago and in such a crazy space.
I know, 200 meters in the sky. As you're walking around, it's really fascinating to just look at the different structures and see like just how sophisticated it really was. Some of the facilities they put in for water, like the dams for instance, were actually so sophisticated they're actually still in use today.
So no one's really sure how this fortress came to be. It is a bit of myth, bit of history, bit of legend. No one's 100% sure, but the most popular belief is that this gentleman named King Kashapa came here and built the fortress here. King Kashapa wasn't a legitimate heir to the throne. He felt greedy and hard done by, so he actually killed his father. He buried him alive in a wall, of all things. It's a pretty full-on way for anyone to go, if you ask me. After killing his father, he was racked by guilt and terrified really that his brother, the rightful heir to the throne, would come and kill him, seek revenge. So he fled here to central Sri Lanka, found Lion Rock, and built the most defensible fortress possible. Now from up here, you've got views of the entire valley. You can see an army coming miles away, which is why King Kashapa liked this spot. When King Kashapa moved to the region, there was actually already a structure here on Lion Rock. It was a monk's temple, but as this was the most defensible position, he asked the monks to move basically to that big hill over there. And so when we go over there this afternoon, you'll see that King Kashapa has actually built them a temple to live on so that he could move in here and have the most defensible position in the whole region.
We have just walked back down to the base of where the climb to the top starts. We thought we'd just sit and relax for a few minutes because that's a pretty steep climb and it is very hot on the top. So something to note is that it is very hot on the top. There is not really very much shade and we're just taking like a 5-minute chill break. But compared to when we walked up the top this morning, maybe like an hour ago, there is like at least triple the amount of people. So definitely come here early. It is now pretty hectic. There is now quite a lot of people about. So definitely come early and bring a hat.
To finish today off, we've come to Pidurangala Rock, which is the second biggest rocky outcrop in the valley. So Lion Rock is number 1, Pidurangala is number 2. From the top of Pidurangala, you get spectacular views of Lion Rock. So we're trekking up, we're going to try and catch the sunset. So at the bottom of Pidurangala Rock is this wicked monastery. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's believed that it originated when King Kashapa moved to the valley. He wanted Lion Rock for himself. So he built the monks a monastery here, like kicked them off the main rock so that he could have it for himself. But to be fair, this is not a bad spot at all. It is beautiful. Hard to climb, but beautiful. It's a long way up.
When people come to Sigiriya, they kind of either do Lion's Rock like we did this morning, or they do Pidurangala Rock. And that's because Lion's Rock is really, really expensive. So the climb up to Pidurangala Rock, you get this amazing view over Sigiriya, and it's kind of the budget way of doing it because it's only 500 rupees instead of 6,500 to climb to the top, which is way cheaper.
Guys, be aware there is a little bit of bouldering to get up here. Well, not like bouldering, but yeah.
Help! Not super appropriate shoes.
Thank you. It's over there now. Yeah, you have to go to this.
Maybe. It's like a slippery slide.
Just like Lion Rock this morning, we've hit a little bit of a traffic jam. But it is sunset, so, you know, it's to be expected. Alright guys, that was an epic climb getting up, but my goodness, look at that. That's where we were this morning. You know, whether you want to go up there or up here or both, but there's nothing like that view. That is awesome, just awesome.
So the walk up here was a little bit crazy at times and it did feel a little bit scary, but it was totally worth it because the views up here are simply spectacular.
Yeah.
Like I thought the views this morning were amazing, but really, they don't really compare to this evening's views.
It's like when you're in New York. Do you go up the rock to have views of Empire State Building, or do you go up the Empire State Building to have views of the city? Both are great. I personally think this is the better choice. If you're going to do one thing while you're here in Sigiriya and you're trying to toss up between going up there or up here, I would come up here because the views are just as good and you get views of the rock. So it's just the best option, and it was so much cheaper.
So much cheaper, and honestly, like now that the weather's cooled down a little bit, it's just really nice being up here. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far in the video and you haven't subscribed, hit that red button down below.
And guys, I'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next video. It's crazy to think that something this sophisticated was built thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago.
Was it thousands of years ago? Wasn't it?